I totally get that it is so hard to sell books as a self published children's book author. Like, I've been doing this for years and I have figured out quite a few different avenues that work for me, and events are one of them. But initially, they didn't work out that well for me, and I had to tweak and play around with the different kinds of events that I do. And if you're thinking that this could be an avenue that you want to go down and you want to sell your books this way because social media is so overwhelming for you and you just want to get out there in person, I'm going to dive into it today. And if you don't know me already, hi, my name is Harley, and I'm an award winning self published author and illustrator of 3 children's books. Well, my third one is coming out soon, but it's only a couple weeks away. So, 3 children's books, and I have put in the legwork. And on this YouTube channel, I tell you all the tips and tricks that I have accumulated over the years and hours and hours and hours of work. So if that sounds good to you, feel free to subscribe down below. Maybe you've been to some local events like farmers markets, craft shows, festivals, and you've seen an author at a booth, and you've probably wondered, like, would this be an option for you? And could it be profitable for you? And of course, with any avenue of selling books, there are pros and cons, and it may not work for you. It works really well for me, but I've had a really social job my entire working life. I mean, at 16, I started working at Starbucks, so I was talking to plenty of people all day, every day, and that's where my expertise comes from. So in-person events might not be as easy for you, but maybe it's something that you should try, especially if you want to do like more school visits and you want to be more comfortable in front of strangers and, maybe lessen your social anxiety. So maybe it's something that you could do. But also, you could watch to the end of this video and realize that in-person events or festivals or markets are not for you, and that is totally okay because not everybody can do everything, and that's quite all right. So I'm going to dig into the pros and cons of in-person events, and we'll figure out if this is an avenue for you. So to be optimistic, I'm going to start out this video by talking about the pros of working in-person events. I have found that in-person events have really helped me build up my local networking, and I have met bookstore owners from doing in-person events, and I've gotten my books into their stores just because I was at an event. So that could be something that you need to think about. If wholesale is a priority for you, maybe you should just get out there to network. I have also met teachers from doing in-person events. Like, I swear, like, once you put up that meet the author sign at your vendor events, like, teachers come running. Like, they love to connect with local authors. And also, you could potentially book a school visit from doing this. Another pro with in-person events is that you get immediate customer feedback. So if you're thinking about, like, okay, I think I want to do a series on this kind of children's books. So for example, I have environmental awareness children's books. Like, my first one is Doppy Saves the Bees, and that's like a bee conservation book. My third book is Doppy Saves the Turtles. There, I'm going to put pictures right here for you. And that's about like turtle conservations. I found that I should continue that series because I sell a lot of Doppy Saves the Bees at in-person events. And also, it's just my bestseller, like, all around. So by getting that feedback from in-person events, I realized that I should carry on with the series to piggyback off of that one book success, and also like double my AOV, or average order value, from each person. And I know that if I didn't do those in-person events and I just thought, like, hey, my first book, I really like the concept of that, I think the story's really fun, but it didn't sell as well as the one that was more like environmental awareness type of books. By getting that feedback, it's like so valuable, and it's so fast. Like, you realize, like, if you start talking to people about your books and like what they're about, you realize what they're gravitating towards. So you can just double down on that. When you're pitching your books in person, you might come up with a phrase that could translate really well to your social media marketing, or even on your Amazon description page. Like, you can figure out different like taglines or phrases to incorporate into that if you see that they're doing well. I also personally find selling in person so much easier than selling online. Like, if you've been in the trenches as a self-published children's book author for a while, you know exactly how hard it is to get online orders to your own website or even from Amazon. Like, you know how difficult it is. So when you do an in-person event, and you have streamlined your pitch, like you know what to say to people in order to get them to buy. So once you have all that narrowed down, you can sell consistently for hours to complete random strangers. And all you have to really do is like pay to be there, set up, everything you need to set up to be a vendor, but then show up, be present, be friendly, and you can make hundreds of dollars in a day just from selling your books. And yes, that might sound scammy, but like I literally just did this a couple days ago at a farmer's market. So trust the process. It really does work. And I've gone through my Shopify dashboard like quite a lot. Like I like to do like deep dives on like my analytics, on like my marketing efforts and where I get my orders, how that translates to Amazon KDP. And by far, I get the most sales from in-person events. Like I make thousands of dollars every year from in-person events. And I also get my books into stores, which also translates as wholesale orders from my in-person events. So it's like double dipping, like doubling my sales. But now, even though there are so many pros, and this is my favorite way of selling my children's books, there are plenty of cons, unfortunately. The number one con, I would say a lot of people would say is the number one con, is the price of even being able to start and sell in person, because you have to put in all that money to buy your inventory so that way you can sell your inventory at multiple events. You have to buy tables, you have to buy tablecloths, you need to get branded signage, like you need to get a tent. Then you also need to do research on like, oh, what colors do I want to do my branding? And also I have to put in the time to even design my branded signage. Like there is so much upfront cost and like time investment that you need to do, but oh my god, it's like so worth it. At least it is to me, and I know that like I'm lucky enough that like I have saved to be able to invest in my business in this way, but I know not everybody can. So take that into account as well. Also, like piggybacking off of like the time that I talked about, it takes a lot of time to get good at in-person events, and also finding the events that are going to work best for you and where you make the most sales. And also going back to the cost, you have to pay to be at these events. So if you want to do like a really high traffic festival, it's probably going to cost you anywhere from like $250 for 3 days to $400. And then after even spending that kind of money, like you're not even guaranteed sales. So if you only make like $150 on like an event that costs you $400 just to even show up, you're out 300 some dollars. Like it is unfortunate, but if you find the right festival or the right show or the right market, oh my gosh, like it can be so profitable. So there's that cost and time thing that is an issue. Also, you don't know what the turnout's going to look like. Like, let's say that it starts pouring and you're at an outdoor event and you're scheduled for 2 days, and the coordinator's like, oh, it's rain or shine. You can't not show up, because if you don't show up, then you're not allowed to vend at this event anymore. Like that's really normal. So yeah, I've had a couple events that were outside, and like the last day or the first day or like the first couple days were raining, or it was really cold and windy, and like there was hardly any traffic, and I barely made any sales. And honestly, it was a really boring day. Like it was a really long, boring day. Yeah, it's tricky. But honestly, it's the nature of the beast. And if you do this time and time again, and like you do more events, you kind of get the hang of it and you know how to make it work for you. Another big con that like I know I'm privileged to be able to do this, but it is so physically demanding. Like it is manual labor at its finest, basically. Like, no, it's not construction work. Like, thank goodness. But it is really labor intensive, because you have to set up the tent, you have to set up the table, the tablecloths, put out all your inventory, connect all of your technology, make sure that it's working with the Wi-Fi or your hotspot. You need to unload your car, and then after you do all the prep, you have to tear it back down and put it back in your car, and then put it back in your garage or wherever you're storing everything. So it is very exhausting. So I'm really lucky that like I can do it by myself, and like I'm healthy enough and strong enough to do it by myself. And I know not everybody can do that. So you're probably going to need a helper. And I know I started my shows with a helper, because I honestly, like, I went a little too crazy with my setup and I don't need to do that anymore, but I did have a helper. And then also trying to do these festivals or shows or markets and having to align the schedule of my helper, that was really inconvenient. And I know it's kind of disheartening to listen to all the cons, especially if this is something that you really want to do. Like, there are so many cons with everything in life. So I think it's just about putting it into perspective, like what's important to you and what your risk tolerance looks like. So, can you save up enough money and budget enough money to just pay for the events and be like, hey, if I don't make this back, whatever, I'm just going to keep trying and it's not going to hurt me too much. But if you're not in a financial position to do that, I don't recommend starting with like a $400 or a 2 day event. Like, I don't recommend doing that. Start really, really small. Start with like a really small, like, book fair. You can start with a farmer's market. I actually started vending at farmer's markets, and that is the most profitable event that I've ever done. And it was only like 4 hours. And even just to like set up, like the cost of me setting up for 1 day is $47. Whereas at other big shows and big festivals, it's like $100 to $150 a day. Look at the events that are available to you and just look at the cost and see what you can part with, like, and not, be so upset and depressed that you don't make your sales back. So plan accordingly that way. In person events and markets and festivals and craft shows is my number one seller of books. And I know that's different for everybody. I know that more people sell on Amazon. I know more people do more school visits, and that's how they sell their books. Like, I don't do that as much. I'm going to get into it, but I really like doing the in person event. But going through this pro and con list, hopefully I can help you see if this is a potential for you or if it's something that you maybe want to dabble in the future. Keep it on the back burner. Also, if you have any questions about like in person events and like selling as a children's book author, please leave a comment down below. I love talking about this stuff and I love being able to help you out with it because I didn't find any YouTube videos when I started talking about this exact topic for self published children's book authors. So just leave a comment down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And also stay tuned for part 2 of this video. I'm going to talk about like how to make the shows profitable. So that'll be a good one if you're really interested in doing in-person events. Also go to the description. I've got a ton of free resources for self-published children's book authors. I have an Instagram content planner. I have a free marketing guide. I have a book launch team guide. I have all that. So go check those out and watch this next video.